What is up, everybody? Welcome to the fourth episode of Level Up Lounge. I'm Matt, and along with me, I have Ian.
Heyo.
And I have Deadly, who we might refer to as Paul occasionally.
Yeah, maybe I should do these so you guys have Catcher's Corner, cardboard, and coffee like I mentioned last week. Mine will just say Deadly, and underneath it'll be Paul.
I like it, actually. I actually like that. So, yeah, guys, we got a pretty jam-packed episode planned for you guys. Not to give everything away, but we're going to go over some different TCGs this episode, an app for a TCG, and I thought I would just share kind of my experience I'm having with a new video game and a whole new genre that I'm not used to and I'm very much enjoying, actually. But I did think we would start with Pokemon Trading Card Game Live. I think I'm getting that right. That's the name of it, right, Ian?
Yes.
So
be online. Yeah, now it's live. It's live.
So yeah, we were briefly talking about it last week, and Ian was mentioning that he started just getting into it last week, and he encouraged Deadly and myself to download it and play it and everything. Deadly he downloaded it, but he did not.
I did not do my homework, but
I didn't either.
But I did do a quick little overview right before, a couple hours ago. I had to sign in, and I was talking to Matt, and I figured it out. I got in, and I did some couple demos, but I didn't realize. I never would have guessed my username. It's not like a usual username for me.
But
is it embarrassing? I feel like it's embarrassing.
It's weird. It's Demon Balls. I don't know if I came up with that or if Scott or you came up with that.
I did not come up with that.
Demon Balls is about to
know where that came from. It was feeling real creative that day.
Well, Demon Balls just got a friend request.
If you face Demon Balls on Pokemon Trading Card Game Live, that's Deadly here.
I got an invalid name on Demon Balls. There's an underscore?
I feel like it would break some kind of censorship on it. Like they were trying to censor.
So this might be surprising to some people, including some people on the podcast even. But I actually downloaded the app. I started playing it. And my experience in TCGs really is Pokemon before getting into MetaZoo, which became my main TCG. So I have a little background in the Pokemon trading card game. And I went through the demos like Deadly was just talking about, and it hooked me again. And I stopped playing my Switch pretty much most of this week because I was playing this mobile app on my phone. I was enjoying myself. The one thing I will say is it kills the battery on your phone. My phone gets to 100 degrees.
Can you download it on the Switch or no? I'm assuming you would have if you could.
I think it's mobile.
Yeah. I think you could get it on an iPad.
Yes. You can have a certain version. I don't know if it needs an update, but that's exactly where I went. I went on my iPad and I looked, and it gave me my username and my password, and that's how I got in.
Does it actually look good on an iPad, or is it just a stretched version of the mobile?
I'd have to open it I can grab it right there.
But yeah, I've been enjoying myself. Now, when you start out, you do have to do a little tutorial type of thing where it teaches you the game. It's cool. It does go in depth for somebody who does not have experience in the game. But then once you get past that, you're able to start battling people in the app. It gives you some pre-constructed decks that you could go through, and then you could kind of use their in-game currency to get cards. Sure. You could play to win packs, and you could build your own decks from there. Ian, what has your experience been? Because you've probably been playing more than all of us, honestly.
It's been great. So, I kind of mentioned before I played the Game Boy version of Pokemon, but that was 10 years ago. I forgot how to play. I've never played the card game myself. So this was the really kind of going into it with no memory of how the mechanics work. The energy system's kind of cool, but weird at the same time. Like when your Pokemon dies, you lose the energy on it and it gets discarded. But I felt it hasn't been a problem yet. So I thought that was interesting. Kind of going into it, I expected to be like, okay, I'm going to be starving for energy. But just kind of you allot things wisely. There's experience share as an item, which is really useful. So if your Pokemon dies, you can move one of the energies to one of the experience shares. So I feel like the game is pretty well put together, better than I thought it was, which explains why it's a good TCG, I guess.
Yeah. And the app works very well too.
Yeah, the app's great. I know you had some bugs. I haven't experienced those.
It was only that one day though, so I don't know. It could have just been something with my phone or my service, or I don't know. But yeah, I did have a couple little glitches there where mid-game something would happen where I couldn't get past an action that needed to be done. So the only thing I could do is like close out the app and like get back into it, and it X's you out of your match when you do that.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
So, what deck have you been playing? Because I'm actually basically playing with a slightly modified version of one of the starter decks.
So, pop quiz time. First episode, I told you my favorite Pokemon. Do you remember what that Pokemon is?
Mimikyu, which is a horrible deck to play against.
So,
every time I go against Mimikyu, I think of you.
So I always, for the most part, play Psychic. That's just the type I like for Pokemon. There's a few types that I stick to, but that's like the main one, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's a lot of strong Pokemon in that type, actually, so I'm kind of fairly lucky. And the deck I've been playing right now, actually, is Mewtwo V, Mewtwo V Max. Then I have Mimikyu, and I have a non-V VMAX, nothing like just regular Mimikyu.
Yep.
That I really enjoy because it has an ability that blocks all attacks from any EX Pokemon, any V, any V Star, any V Max, anything like that. So if I'm going up against a deck with like strong, powerful cards, I put that in, and I'm pretty much in the clear. Then I use Zacian, I think it is. I get them confused. I think that's the Psychic one. And that allows me to, it has an ability that if I'm not attacking, like first turn is a perfect example. You can't attack on your first turn if you go first. I'll attach an energy to a Pokemon, then I'll use his ability, which searches the deck, pulls out an energy, and you could attach it to a Pokemon. So I basically could put down 2 energy my first turn. Nice. And kind of ramp that up a bit. So then I have the EX version of Mimikyu also. That's just sometimes I use as an attacker. Mm-hmm. And then I use Articuno V, I think it is. Galarian Articuno V. And that one has an ability, and I only use it for its ability, which you could use while it's on the bench even. And that one you could discard 2 cards from your hand to draw a card. So I use that often to get rid of things that I don't need in my hand to see if I could get something that I do need. Yep. Besides that, supporters and stuff like that I use a lot of energy recycle. So like I get a lot of energy out quick. If that Pokemon dies, I get the energy back type of thing. Yep. And then besides that, it's just basic stuff where like I could switch my Pokemons from the bench to the card is just called Switch. And another standard one is Boss's Orders, which lets you choose an opponent's Pokemon from the bench and put it on. So kind of like pretty standard supporters. I do use 2 stadium cards also, which if you use a stadium card that stays in play, deadly for you. It's almost like a Terra in a way. Like you could just put it into play and it stays there. Unless they play one, then it takes over that slot. But the one that I play, if you attach an energy to a So all my Pokemon are psychic Pokemon, so I play that in case you're playing none. Every time you attach an energy, you get 20 damage.
Yeah.
I would say it's not winning all the time anymore. In the beginning, it was. Now I'm probably winning, I would say, like 65 to 70% of my matches. But I am getting beaten often by the same deck, I would say. And that same deck you do see fairly often, but I have figured out kind of how to maneuver it. But if I don't get the cards that I need in the time that I need them, there's no winning type of thing. And actually, I would say there's actually like 2 or 3 decks that do that. The number one, though, is the Charizard EX deck. That people are just using the rare candies. They're ramping up. They're getting Charizard out real quick.
That's my deck.
And then they use the Pidgey also to like search their deck and everything like that.
That's exactly my deck. So as soon as I got the Pidgeot, I immediately switched. I forgot what was it. Oh, it was Bidoof. Not Bidoof. Sorry, the newer version of Bidoof. Was it Bidoof? No, it was Bidoof and Bibarel. I switched those out immediately for Pidgeotto, and Pidgeot because of search. So my deck is exactly that. It's built around, okay, let's get Charizard on the field as fast as possible, or Pidgeot as fast as possible to use their abilities. And then a Torkoal. I have 2 Torkoals in the deck. But Torkoal does 80 damage. For every energy on it, you flip a coin, and it does 80 damage per heads. So when you start bringing all this energy from the Charizards, you attach them to the Torkoal as just a backup that can swing really hard. And then there's another Charizard, I forgot from which set, that for all of your Flame Auras count as 2. So, you get 3 Flame Auras on that Torkoal, and it counts as 6. Then you're flipping 6 times. And then you just keep attaching to the Torkoal.
So going back to last week's episode, Torkoal's also a beast in VGC.
Really?
Yeah, you do have to. He's like somebody you got to use strategically. You need to use Trick Room so that the slower Pokemon go first. And he's a beast because he'll go first every time, basically, and he'll pretty much like one hit anything if it's I think it's daytime, like if the sun is active, like type of thing. If it's sunny out or something like that, his volcano attack, eruption, I think it is, or something like that. It's massive.
That's awesome.
But no, that's funny that's your deck, because I called you out in our group chat and I was like, you better not be playing that deck.
That's been my go-to. It's my favorite deck so far with the tweaks. I don't think did I tweak anything out? Oh yeah, I have a Super Rod instead of some other. I think I took out one of the Pokeballs and did a Super Rod. I maxed out the rare candies. I think it only had 3 to begin with. I took something out and made it 4. But yeah, a lot of tutors. Kind of the point is just get the cards you need and you get those rare candies.
Yeah, my only evolution I have in my deck, which for those of you who don't know, and deadly a reminder for you, is you start out with a stage 1, like a basic Pokemon, and then you have to wait like a whole turn after you play it, and then you could put its evolution on top of it, type of thing, to like power it up, and it becomes that then. The only one that I have is my Mewtwo V becomes a V Max. So I don't use any like the rare candies, anything like that, because my deck just doesn't really need them. There's only 3 opportunities in total for it. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm going to try to build a different deck, and I'm going to try to build one of the decks I think that's been beating me. However, I'm not somebody who net decks, so like I'm not gonna look up what that deck was. I'm just gonna I just remember the Pokemon that it was, and I'm gonna build my own deck from that type of thing. But I know I don't have the cards that I need yet. Ian, actually, why don't, because you helped me with that this week, why don't you explain to them like the currencies and stuff like that, and how, because that's kind of interesting. How this game is.
I'll explain that before we move on from the decks. I just want to say I hate that Mimikyu deck. I went up against one last night that was like, the deck was literally 4 Mimikyus. That was it. And then a bunch of cards to pull it back from, either search for it or pull it back from discard.
Mimikyu's just like a supporter in my deck. It has
Yeah.
like a little purpose type
It's
thing.
powerful because a lot of people are playing V and VMAX.
They are.
And EX cards. So like, and that's what my deck is built around. So I was actually like, I had to get my Torkoal out, or I had to use Charmander and Charmeleon.
Yeah.
And it does I think 90 counters distributed however the hell it wants.
So the one that I'm using, no, like I said, no VMAX or upper whatever card could attack it, and its attack technically does 0, but then the effect under it says deal 70 damage to the active Pokemon. So for your Charmander, it's a 60. So it's a 1 hit to the Charmander, and it does that because it's not an attack. So like no weakness, nothing like that applies. If you have something active where it's like no attack damage, doesn't matter. This will still go through. So yeah, it's pretty powerful actually for just like a basic Pokemon, you know, that's not a V or anything powerful, let's say, you know.
It's the next deck that I was planning to play around with, just to get used to basically try to figure out the mechanic better so I can work around it and figure out what I need to tweak around it. Because it's the one deck that I just, every time I'll lose against, is the Mimikyu deck.
So the other one that I've been losing against, and this is the one that I'm going to try to build, is Palkia. And it's a water deck.
Yep.
And there's Palafin in it. And that Palafin is a powerhouse, dude. It's like a simple card where like if you knock it out, you only get 1 prize card instead of the 2, like the bigger cards. But its attack does like 120 damage or something like that. So it's like a nice little powerhouse that will pretty much 1 hit anything that's not a VMAX, you know. So yeah, I'm really trying to do that next time.
So okay, so let's do this. Do you want to talk about the currencies?
Well, actually, I want to know why Deadly hasn't played yet.
That too.
I mean, to be honest, it's just not as interesting. I don't know.
All right, when you start playing and you do get into it this week, because I'm going to make sure you play it, what type of deck do you want to build? I'm sure you have a favorite type already.
Not really.
No? You don't have a favorite Pokemon? Everyone's got a favorite Pokemon.
Basically, they're like Mew and Mewtwo. I like those two.
Which ones? What?
Mew and Mewtwo.
So you can build my deck then.
But basically, the thing is I don't accept anything over 151. Y'all can hate me for it, but I don't accept it, and I don't want to see these random things coming out. But I get it. It's just the game and the dynamic of the game, and like the actions you take while playing the game, and the cards and different.
The game has got to evolve the same way Magic has evolved and all these other ones.
But Pokemon does not deserve to evolve because they did initiate at the beginning.
The game is around evolving. That's what the game is about.
I don't care though. They only entered 151 to me when I was a kid, and they waited way too long. Now,
Deadly was that kid that had the poster of the 151 Pokemon on his wall. Yep. And then the second gen came out, and he's like, "Now what do I do with this poster?"
Nope. I didn't even. This is the problem. This is when we were talking about like history. Like, so in my Game Boy, so I had blue, I had yellow, and then I got gold. But I never played gold. I never played it. I played like a little bit, and I was just like, "What kind of?"
Gold was great.
You get to go back to Kanto at the end. You would have loved it.
Gold was great.
I didn't even give it a shot.
The worst. Because
I was like, I don't know what this Pokemon is. They tried to tell me there was 100 million more, and I was like, no, there isn't.
Literally.
Not in my world.
I mean, I respect it, but I also don't. So
there's going to be people who disagree heavily with me because they love Pokemon, but I love Pokemon.
I mentioned
version and to 2000. That's about it. Like
two of my new favorite Pokemon are from the newest generation. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're a traitor.
I love literally. So here I have a green screen, so you're not going to be able to see it great probably. But my phone case is the new generation of Pokemon, and originally I just wanted to get a Belly Bolt case because I liked him so much. But I was like, what if I don't like him 2 months down the road or something like that?
When,
He's still
when I
one of my
look at
favorite
your phone
Pokemon.
case, when I look at your phone case, I see a different animation. I don't see Pokemon. That should be like that's like a mix between Digimon or I don't know. There's some random stuff that I don't know what any of that is. Maybe one of
Well, maybe play the games and you'll find out, or watch the animes and you'll find out.
I only
But
go.
anyway, so back on topic here.
That is top. Amazing.
I,
It's a huge
I-
debate.
I like the fact that this game, it's not a game where I'm tempted to spend money
Mhm.
to get things that I need because it's not even really an option.
Where's the fun in that?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. So
Yes.
get into that for me. And
Yeah. Let me put my screen back. We will see my messy desk. All right. So the currencies is what you want me to talk about, right?
yeah.
So there's 3 currencies there. There's the gold coins. The gold coins are used to buy cosmetics. So if you go into your profile, you hit customize. Let's get this phone down here a little bit. You can buy, hats and and shirts. You can buy a different look. So I actually did, because they're not used for anything else, I did
Mhm.
customize my look with a purple.
Flannel.
I have the Ghastly shirt and jacket combo going for me too right now, Ian.
It's the best one.
It is.
Can't
I
get better
agree.
than that. So the second currency is the gems here. Actually, you know what? We're going to talk about that one last.
Okay.
Let's talk about this one next. So this one here, when you open packs, eventually you get more cards than you can have in a deck. So, you open 5 Charmanders, say. There's nothing to do with that 5th Charmander. You can't trade it away in this version. PTCG, Pokemon TCG Online you could trade. Live you cannot. So what they do instead is for commons, I think you get 10 of this currency. I don't remember uncommon and rare, and then anything above rare I think is 100. So every time you get more than a deck limit, it converts to this currency here. And then if you were to come into the deck builder and you say, you know what, I want another one of these Charizards, but you don't have enough of them for what you need. Oh, sorry, I'm off screen. You can so when you come into this view, there's an exchange button, and you can spend that currency to get the cards you want. So it's a way to buy the cards that you don't have access to because you didn't open it in a pack. Obviously, to get that currency, you need to be playing the game. I think you get a little bit for each game win, but primarily it comes from opening packs and getting duplicates. And then this last one is the purple here, the purple gem. That one is used in the shop. So there's a bunch of different packs and bundles you can buy. If you want to do that, you can buy individual card packs going back to Sword and Shield, I believe. Oh, wait, no, you can go back to Sun and Moon. That's how you do it.
Oh crap!
You can actually go back to
Oh
Sun
yeah,
and Moon.
because EX cards are still legal. Yeah.
Yeah.
They went back to EX cards even.
Yes, if you want to go back to base set Sun and Moon, you can buy a pack for. Is that even a pack? No, that's not even a pack. That's a single card. You can buy a pack for 200. I wouldn't suggest doing that. So the best use for it is the battle pass. So as you play the game, you get points for your battle pass, and then there's quests every day. And those quests, I think you get 800 points towards your battle pass level. For 600 of the purple gems, you unlock this side for extra rewards, and it basically immediately pays off. You get a whole nother deck. You get a bunch of the currency to buy cards, and then every tier you unlock more stuff. And then already in the first couple tiers, I think I made all of my gems back that I put into it.
Yeah.
And the reason I suggest that you spend it on the battle pass and you don't go shopping in the shop unless you, for some reason, really want to, is because eBay is a wonderful place.
eBay is a wonderful place.
I bought 1,700 code cards for $60. So it works out to 3 cents per card. And if you're buying a pack for 200 of those gems, it's basically 3 cents. It's just not worth it to use the gems for that unless you don't want to buy cards, code cards online for some reason. But that's how I'm looking at it. Is if I can pay 3 cents for a code card, that means that 200 of those gems really only equates to about 3 real-world cents, and it takes time to accumulate that. So I would rather use it to unlock things like the Battle Pass rewards.
That makes sense. Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool that we could get the singles this time, because I don't remember that in the past version. And that was the currency that I didn't know how to use, and I asked you for help this week. I was like, what is this even used for? I got like 20,000 of these things now. And I actually needed singles for my deck to make it better. So I thought that was really cool. I was upset that there was no trading in this one, but that kind of makes up for it. One other thing I want to point out is that and then we'll move on to like another topic, is that there are 2 different game modes in it, and it automatically starts you in like the ranked mode. Mm-hmm. I've been only playing in the ranked mode, but there is a casual mode as well. And I believe in that mode, you don't have to use I think they're called standard cards for like the standard format. I think you could use more like free cards, anything you want, whether they're legal or not, in like the regular format and that type of thing. So you might see some like more powerful decks even in the casual format than you would in the ranked format, which is kind of interesting in a way. But yeah, there's just like more freedom for your deck building. There's less rules and regulations for the deck building, so you can see some crazier stuff that you kind of wouldn't be expecting. But yeah, I've just been enjoying playing the ranked mode. That's kind of like the format that you would use if you were playing in the actual TCG at like regionals or something like that. So I always just like following the main rules and the rules that the game is meant to be played. So I just been staying in that ranked format, and I think I am at a peak. No, I just became a Scorn Bunny rank.
That's where I'm at
Today. It goes all the way up to Arceus, which is high up. We're not close.
That resets in less than 7 days now.
Yeah. So the season ends, and then a new season begins. So, but yeah, we're not even close. But yeah, I guess that's it for PTCGL, unless Ian, you have anything else to say.
Other than that's a mouthful, no.
Yeah. So, Deadly, I got a package in the mail today from you.
Yes, you did.
And it's about a game that you care about a little bit, and I know nothing about.
Yeah, so along the timeline of playing MetaZoo and getting back into some games and stuff, came across this game Kryptik. It's been out for a little while now. Like what? Year and a half?
I first found out about it when we were in Dallas last year, so that's about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, the Kickstarter was about a year and a half ago. It didn't get delivered until I think beginning of the year or end of last year, somewhere in that time frame.
For a good, 6 months before that, they were handing out stuff. This is something that they would hand out at like Collecticons or whatever.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They actually gave this one to me in Orlando. The last one, right before I left for
Water Tower.
Yeah, Water Tower.
So yeah, that was March of this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is just like a regular, like, I guess, starter booster deck, which actually is the same thing as this, but this is a theme deck or whatever, starter deck, and it comes with this deck. I feel like it's thicker. I don't know. I feel like there might be less cards in there. I haven't opened it yet, but there's also 3 booster packs in here, and maybe something else. I don't know.
So, what is this game about? What is the purpose of it? What's its story?
That I've never really gotten into big stories, especially when there isn't something, that's easily read. Basically, the thing that I acknowledge of this is they have these cards that come in the packs that aren't playable cards. They're more like lore cards, and they tell a description of each one. So basically, let's see if I can do this. It has the lore card to the actual card that is here. This one. We'll just do this. Yeah, right here. So this would be a lore card. It has like the story on the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have the actual card that has, its abilities and stuff like that. Cost. It's the same thing. I think they only have the lore cards, maybe specifically, I could be wrong on this, for citizens. And so there's spells, citizens, and then I think there's one other thing. I don't know anything about this game, really. So I literally just hopped into the Discord to ask them, deck limit and card limit. Like, I got an answer though.
Do you know this? Because I literally know nothing. One episode we were talking about how like Nom Nom is about like there's almost we don't know yet, but we think there's like dungeons and you got to kind of make your way through that dungeon and attack things along your way that your opponent puts in front of you. We were talking about how Legions of Will, there's 3 bases and you got to destroy the bases to win. Do you know kind of how this game is played and like what the purpose of the game in a way is?
Yeah. Gameplay, yes, I do know generally the objective of the game.
So what's that? Let's start there.
So basically, you start. So I just found out it's a fixed 50 max and min amount of cards in the deck. You have to have 50. You can't have any less.
Or no less.
Yeah, apparently it was different for that, but then this is like the new.
Pokemon is the same actually. That's something we didn't mention while we were talking about the game. It's 60 cards only.
Got it.
But yeah, so this game is 50 cards only.
Yeah, so this one's 50. You can have 3 of every card. You can have 3 of the card that are in your deck, except for this specific card, which is Grassman's Will. And I think that it add 1 of any color, soul energy. So basically like energy, mana, land, whatever you want to call it. So it's like a neutral, but it's like a universal. You can basically like fatigue it, which is called engage, to create a resource that you can use. So you can only have 1 of those in the deck. So the thing that caught my eye on this game is every single card, a spell card, a citizen, like a human, whatever creature, they're all resources. Every single card is a resource. So at the bottom, it has the colored resources that it would actually turn into. And you can see that that's the cost of this card if I was to play it hard. Because I'd have to pay 1 blue and 1 green. And then this one down here creates a blue or a green. So you fatigue it, you'd play it like upside down, I guess, in your soul row, which the layout, there's a soul row, which is where your resource goes. And in between there is your 11-year cards, which is the main objective of the game.
So let me ask this. What is that? Is that a Kryptik die? What is that?
A Kryptik Kickstarter die. It's one of the few things where is the 66? It's one of the few things I still have left from the Kickstarter.
So when you use a card the way you were just explaining, Deadly, are you like choosing that function. Like you have the cards in your hand, you're now playing the card, you're choosing its function. So it's either going to create aura, or I'm sorry, like an energy resource or whatever. I'm just in the MetaZoo talk. It's going to create that energy source, or you're going to use it as a creature, or can it do both? Can you like change it?
So once you play it down as a resource, it stays as a resource.
Okay.
Once you play it as a card, like a human, whatever it is you want to call it, like something that you're attacking with and blocking with, you can only do that. I believe there might be cards that actually might pull them from their areas, but it's an action of a card. So a spell comes out and say, take a soul from your soul row, which would be your resources, and put it up onto the island and have it attack this turn or something, some action.
So, okay, that I like that. That makes sense. Do you know anything about why they're named what they're named? Like the soul thing, the island. Like, do they have any purpose? Or are we trying to like make our way somewhere or something?
No. Okay, so basically the objective of the game is when you start. I guess I was watching some gameplay videos and people were dealing 6 cards. You start with 6 cards in your hand, and once you decide on the 6 cards, you keep them. The mulligan's kind of cool, but I'll go over this first. After you keep your 6 cards, you actually you shuffle again, and then you draw from the top 6 cards. You place them face down across. Here, let me see if I can get this. I have play mats. I just don't have room here to set it up. And it has like the idea of like what this would be. So basically, it's like this. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So at the bottom is the soul row. The 6 cards go in the middle, and that's 11-year cards. And those are the cards that you're trying to actually get rid of. So I'm trying to attack those 11-year cards. You have 6 of them, and then I have to hit you again directly. So I have to technically hit all 6 of those and then hit you directly for a 7th time to win. And when you have creatures out, they can block. And so when you assign your blockers, which have to be, or you assign your attackers, which has to be all at once, I think, like, I have to figure that one out actually, exactly how that goes. But when you're in a like attack phase, you have to like establish attackers, can't go back and like play something, then do it again, like MetaZoo, where you can do it all at any time and given time.
Yeah. That throws me off in other games all the time now that I'm used to that.
Phase. Like there's phase 1, then there's attack, there's like phase 2, and that's it. There's like 1 and 1, and then the attack phase in between. Yeah, I mean, basically the 11-year cards are part of your deck. So when you were to attack it, I would flip it over, and on the bottom of these cards, it has another action here, and that's that gray one right here. This card would be 1 neutral, so you just pay 1 neutral. Any of these resources, doesn't matter, and then you would be able to play this card or put it in your limbo and draw a card. Actually, no, that's specific because. So forgive me. Hold on. Some cards have actions.
You could sack cards to gain cards.
This is what it is. When the 11-year card, if you attack the 11-year card and I have to flip it up, I can either play it for 1 or it comes to my hand, and I hold on to it.
Okay.
So if I don't have enough like soul energy or whatever for the 1, then this would come to my hand. So it doesn't go into limbo and you draw. Those are different actions.
So now, what is that top area there, the island or whatever?
The island, that's where you play your creatures.
Okay, got it.
So it's basically like they're in front. They're trying to block your 11-year cards, and then your 11-year cards is your damage counter, and then behind it is your resources.
And just so I could get the full picture here and make sure I'm understanding completely, those 11-year cards you randomly draw after you get your hand.
Yep, they could be literally anything that's in your deck. Like, created your deck, random prizes like Pokemon.
So I was gonna say for like me and Ian who have been playing Pokemon, it's almost like we draw our card, then you get 6 prize cards, and when you knock out your opponent's Pokemon, you gain the prize card, and you win by getting all those prize cards. So you need to knock out all those 6 11-year cards, and then attack the actual, player or whatever we call them in this game. Okay, so that makes sense to me now.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I think that the idea of having every card as a resource is way more profound than people are giving it, because I don't know any other game.
Are there actual resource cards, or is that the only way you gain resource?
I think this is the only other resource card.
Okay.
And it's 0 cost.
So you kind of need to build your deck strategically.
Very.
Knowing like, all right, I might not be using some of these creatures as creatures. I need to use some of these, and same with like spells or whatever they are. But yeah, I need to. Some of these I might just be like chalking up to the game for some energy.
Yeah, you would add some and be like, okay, this one's mainly always going to be energy. But secondarily, it could be a good resource to pull and be like, oh, I don't need this. This actually has a good use, a good function. I can play it late game because, like I said, you can have 3 of every card in the deck.
Yeah, I feel like that could get tough at times.
Oh, dude, this game is definitely has a little bit of an intricacy, but I think that it's straightforward enough to like not get too crazy, like too confusing for somebody. Every card is a resource. You are going after the prizes and building the deck. You just want to make sure that you have like tiers of like things to bring out, like basically like any other game. Like in Magic, you want to have some low cost, mid cost, and high cost, and you want to range it with like how many cards are in the deck versus how much mana you have in there, and what's your objective. Because there's cards in here, like there's Probe, which is like draw a card, discard a card. You're like kind of drawing. There's not like this like, so in MetaZoo, it would be like, all right, we need to have draw cards or else we're going to get stagnant. No, this game, you're like picking up cards, putting down cards, playing cards. It's pretty fast paced, in my opinion, for a card game. And I think that has to do with no one's struggling on resources. No one's, everybody's pretty much playing their deck for the most part. It's just how it plays out because it's random, shuffled.
I have one last question before, I know Ian hasn't said anything, so I don't know if he has any questions, but my last question is, are you able to, let's say I'm playing you right now and you have your island full of creatures.
Yeah.
But none of them are up for being blockers or anything like that. Do I have to attack them first, or could I just skip right over them?
So I believe when it is engaged, so if I was to swing at you that turn and the card was engaged like this, basically fatigued or tapped, that I believe would leave it me vulnerable. You have when I'm watching gameplay, I see people leaving up cards so that they become stalemated, and it's like whoever can kind of get to the next level, like another card that can kill those cards. So when you look at these cards, you can see the numbers. I believe on the left side of the card is the attack, and the right side is the defense. So this one's like a 4/4. It probably has a pretty good ability if it's 3 or 3. So this one's a 2 cost, and it's a 7/5, which is pretty crazy. But then there's this guy's a 10/6. But then you can get into the more rare ones. And those become super expensive. They do some crazy stuff. They're trying to think. I think it's some of them have 5. Yeah, this one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is actually a spell that costs 5. It's called Unholy Mess, and it literally says destroy all citizens. And every single your deck, it's undead citizens, I believe. And then it's human citizens, and then mystic stuff. I think that's the mystic citizen. So basically, it would kill everything. Yeah, citizen. So I don't know.
It sounds interesting. It sounds like I'd like it, honestly.
There's a couple different mechanics. Basically, there's one called sidestep, which means that if you have, let's say your board is filled with humans or undead citizens, and I have something with sidestep and you don't, my sidestep will go right through and hit your 11-year card. You have to, it has to be blocked by a creature with sidestep. Ooh, he's digging in.
Digging right in.
Ooh, so if you get one of these theme decks like Deadly sent me so kindly, I just opened mine for the first time here. Comes with a little rule book, it looks like, your deck of cards, and then 3 packs.
These are all Kickstarters too, bro.
It's pretty nice. Yeah, it does have the little Kickstarter symbol on it and everything. It is. Yeah, no, this seems cool. And I never played Magic, but this feels like artwork and everything like that, and even like a lot of the gameplay aspect. It seems like it's got a lot of that influence from Magic.
It definitely feels a little bit like Magic, but it also feels completely different because
I can see that. Yeah,
how you win, what you're going after, the spells and the effects of the cards are just a little bit different.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I'm gonna open this if I can. Oh, there we go. I just want to.
The cards are okay. I think that they're decent.
I mean, they feel pretty good.
Yeah, they're not bad at all. I think that there's probably some better quality stuff, but like that's like pretty good. I think the edges are gonna get like dinged up real easy.
So let's see. It's got a nice little firmness to it. It's not completely cheap cardboard. You know,
they definitely made a good quality. It's almost like thinking of like buying like a card game from like whatever Target somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Uno, stuff like that. I feel like it could be on some of those cards. But
yeah, no, the artwork looks really nice on it. I'll say that.
Artwork gets pretty crazy. The only weird thing that I feel like it's this Kickstarter, I feel like the cards are extremely dark, and when I look at them, like, and I'm talking like the tone, like not necessarily like the content. It's like what I have to feel like I need a light to look at it and really appreciate it.
Like that
so,
one, you can.
Oh, that's like how dark is that?
Yeah. Yeah. So Ian and I experienced that though with Legions of Will also.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what this one does, but
what is it?
I don't know. It's part of the Kickstarter promos.
Oh, it's Kryptik?
Yeah.
So now, are we willing on this podcast to play games sometime? Because I'd be willing one of these upcoming weeks to give this game a whirl and use this deck that Deadly sent me, and maybe the 3 of us have some fun playing some Kryptik.
That's totally Gal Gadot.
I would be interested. I would like to, play the game, play it through.
Yeah. So, all right, let's Deadly do this for us. Since you're the one who initiated the Kryptik here on the podcast, you're the one who sent me the deck and everything to play with.
Okay.
Find out a little bit more about the game, and I'll play my first game ever of Kryptik live here with you, or with Ian, but on the podcast. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Let's embarrass myself once more on the internet.
I'll make sure to watch some extra videos and see if I can pick up on the rulings, because I think I have a decent grasp on the construct of it and what you can and can't do. But I guarantee you, during our game, I'm gonna question probably more than I think. Probably a decent amount.
No, I mean, it's a new game for us, so it's gonna happen. And even when we're playing it, we might get stuff wrong. But let's go for it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing Kryptik with us. Thank you for sending.
You're gonna open those packs?
You know what? Fuck it. Let's do it.
Paint your camera views.
Yeah, it's true. I do.
You were bragging about it before.
I got the view. Let me just get rid of my keyboard because that's in the way.
Check this out. He's got this.
I got the view. So let's go to this. Let's get my phone vape out of the way there. So.
Free code card.
Now, do we know where the hit is or anything?
Yeah, I can tell you what to do, so you could just run on through it.
What is it?
What happens here?
Let me make sure I'm more centered. See, this is what I was saying though. The artwork looks really nice on these cards.
Oh wow, yeah. So that's a rare. You can tell by the top right. That's a gold.
Oh, okay.
So that's like a rare, and then the silver's uncommon, and then bronze. So that one's a really good. Capital Punishment actually, I think, is like a couple dollars. Is that hollow?
No, but
No?
this one's pretty cool. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to any citizen until the end of the turn. So
Yeah.
these rare ones also have good utility, it seems.
That's a lore card right there.
Okay, so yeah, the one with the big text and no ability, basically. Another rare. Nice. So yeah, this artwork all reminds me of like Magic. So, there was a hollow. I missed a hollow. I missed it completely. This one was the hollow.
Oh yeah, this little guy.
Look at that.
He's actually really good, and a lot of people. So Flanagan.
So this was the last of the rare cards in the order, though, for the hollow.
I don't know.
No, I'm telling you.
How do they do they only do rares or hollows, or are they doing parallel?
They do. I think they do for other ones too, like uncommon and common.
Yeah.
Because I definitely like bought packs on like Whatnot and everything, and I have these two. No, this
Okay, first pack, fine. This one I can't open.
yeah, these are all uncommons and they're all hollows, and then I have these two that are rare. Oh, that card had Eager, which means it can attack, almost like it has Fleet.
Oh, okay.
Eager basically means it can swing as immediately it comes out, which is super strong.
Let's see if I can find this hollow. Oh, there we go.
Hello.
Gwen. We got a hollow Gwen. So yeah, a lot of these cards are dark, like you were saying.
Yeah. Like if you look at it in the light, like really, really bright light, you can appreciate like every detail. But like my room's not that greatly lit. Like I had to go just to have this like deep light. So it's kind of hard to see the cards sometimes.
No, I get that. But here's another example. It's just a dark card overall.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go again. So it's nice when you get one that's like not super dark, because you could really.
Card. Oh, you do that. That's a great card. Is it hollow?
No.
No. That's like a good hit.
I'd shuffle it either way. This is my hollow, and kind of like Legions of Will, it's hard to even see the hollow pattern.
Yeah.
When the card is dark like that.
This is Kickstarter, and then they have a second wave that they might have brightened the cards and changed some things.
See, like if they were all like this color, like not color, like brightness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That would be great. That one's cool though. I will say that. And Deadly gave me a choice of what deck I wanted, and I chose what's it called again? The Undead one. Just because I like that, like this style artwork of like this was what's on the cover of it, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty badass. But yeah, I was just flipping through this real quick. I saw some other really cool artworks, just like all undead stuff. So I'm happy with the choice that I made. But I'm excited to learn this game a little bit and play it. I'm always down to play some games. So those are my 3 hollow hits, Deadly.
Nice.
Now, Ian.
Yeah.
You got some new decks in the mail this week also.
Lorcana.
What's up with that?
Where'd you get them? Where'd you buy them from?
eBay. So I paid a little bit more than they're worth, but I wanted to get them before general availability, which is September 1st for big box stores like Best Buy and Target and whatnot.
Yeah.
So they're going to be, it's going to be a lot easier to get Lorcana in the next week. Yeah, next week. Best Buy already has the listings up. They're just not, available at the moment. So those will go live on September 1st. But where's my camera?
You tell us.
Yeah, I got the 3 starter decks. Figured we'd go through one. And
Look at him starting the hollow version right there.
it's not hollow.
Oh, it looks like it from here.
This is
from
the-
here it did.
This is the Riddle version from the Kickstarter promos.
Nice.
Which until today, I hadn't actually looked at the promos I got from the Kickstarter. Everybody was like, "Hey, let's talk about Kryptik." That's what it sounds like to me.
That's what he sounds like to everybody.
Hey guys.
Hey guys, let's talk about some Kryptik. Do you like candy? Do you want to get in my van?
Okay, Mr. Lorcana.
So the packaging on these,
Wax
threw a
paper?
box on the ground. I'm not going to go get it. Yeah, wax paper. So they try to do everything sustainable for their packaging. So it's cardboard, wax paper instead of plastic, which is pretty cool.
So wax paper is more sustainable.
Than
Killing the rainforest is more
I don't know anything about wax paper, okay? So, for some of the reason that you like Kryptik, where the cards are resource, it's very similar with Lorcana. So this is an inkwell symbol. Not all cards have it. Oh, look, hollows. Let's see if I can find one in this deck, which I've never actually opened this deck before. Yeah, there we go. So, like, Mother's Knows Best doesn't have the inkwell symbol.
Gotcha.
When you draw your cards, anything with an inkwell symbol, once per turn, you can turn it upside down and put it in your inkwell. That card is lost. You sacrifice it to your resource pool. But instead of having to draw mana or aura or energy, the cards in your hand, you can kind of decide, oh, well, okay, I'm early game. This card, Stitch costs 6. I'm not going to play that for a while. Maybe I'll sacrifice that right now to my inkwell, so I can start ramping up. If you have something else that you don't really want to sacrifice at that time,
If you're playing it face down, how am I supposed to know there's
it can't come out. Once it's in the inkwell, it can't come out. Think of it when it's in the inkwell. Just think of it as if it's a energy.
what if I put the one that doesn't have an inkwell on it?
And you're cheating.
Then you're cheating, and you're a cheater that cheats.
I feel like that's a a real quick way to make this game unviable. How is that like? I need to know. You need to show me the card.
I don't have the rules in front of me, but maybe that is part of the rules, that you need to show it and then put it in the inkwell to combat the cheating there. But
That's a necessity. That's like
I'll let you know.
get your creatures out.
But most games you're able to see like their discard piles and stuff like that. So I'm sure there's a way you could see it and tell.
Yeah, I'd imagine. So the foils on these are cold foils, and basically all of the they etched out the different symbols down here, the inkwell, and then the back of the card. They look great. Like, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see, like, for this one, the sword is hollow.
Oh yeah, you can see that. Yeah.
And it's a different hollow, so it stands out more. So they did some selective hollowing on there. The point of the game is to get to 20 lore. So when you use Aladdin to quest, which is you tap him, he adds 2 lore. This is the lore symbol to your lore pool. When your lore pool gets to 20, you win the game. So that's what you're trying to prevent your opponent from doing. So you want to take out their characters so that they can't do it. You have your power for Stitch, power 4, defense is 6, and he costs 6 to play, 6 ink from your inkwell. So he's more of a late game. So you'd have to have 6 cards face down in your inkwell, tap them to pay for Stitch. Banish is to remove a character from the playing field. So you have cards like that. I don't know if it's in this deck, but this is the Aladdin deck, and I chose that because you said that Aladdin was your favorite, Matt. But there is an equivalent of New Year's New Beginning, and it's not in here, but I do have it over here.
All right.
Give me 1 second. Each of the starter decks came with a pack in them. I opened them because I was very greedy. But there's a card. It's a rare. This is the rare symbol called A Whole New World, and it's a song. So songs are interesting. Obviously, Disney, they have a lot of movies with music in it. Certain characters can sing. So in this one, a character with cost 5 or more can sing this song for free. Otherwise, you have to pay the 5 resources to play the action. In this one, each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards. So I think this one's going to be pretty playable. You're going to see it a lot, especially because somebody like Aladdin, who is cost 7, can just sing it for free. So, once you get 5 resource down and can get a 5 cost character on the field, you don't have to pay the action cost for this. But yeah, so it's going to have a lot of familiar kind of mechanics to it. Chosen character gets 2 power for Abu. Ready chosen character. So ready is to awaken. They can't quest for the rest of the turn, so you awaken them. I imagine there is a defense mechanic, which is why you'd want to leave them awakened. See if I can find one with evasive. So there's a trait called evasive. Evasive characters can only attack characters with evasive. So Peter Pan is evasive. So it's kind of like flight that we've seen in some other card games where, it's a trait that can only, the only thing that can attack that trait is something with the same trait. And then, kind of general common mechanics that you see in card games, like returning cards to the hand, dealing direct damage, adding power to cards, synergies. Let's see, where's another good one here? There's supporter cards. Do I have one here? I know I have one here. All my rares.
So with this though, you're not like attacking the other creatures.
You are.
You are?
Yep. Where's Hey Hey? I know I have a Hey Hey. There's Hey Hey. So Hey Hey is a support. So his goal really is you want to have him quest, which will gain you the 1 lore. And when he quests, of course it's sideways, you can't read it, his power gets added to another card that you control. So for Hey Hey, you'd want to have other cards on the field. Say Aladdin. You quest with Hey Hey to get your 1 lore, and you add his 1 power to Aladdin, so Aladdin goes up to 3 power.
Okay. So you can either attack or do the lore.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm getting it a little bit more.
The supporters, more often than not, I feel like you're going to want to use their support, unless for some reason you don't have another card in the field that you can lend their power to. But so overall, it feels like an accessible game. I don't think it's targeted towards, Magic players or Pokemon players, people that are already experienced in TCGs. I think it's meant for getting newer people involved, getting people that might not have considered trading card games in the past. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that you sacrifice your cards to your inkwell. So it's made so that you don't have this issue of like, getting screwed because you can't draw the energy cards or the mana that you need to be able to play cards. You actually just make that choice to say, okay, I'm going to sacrifice this card so I can have that resource this turn. So, I haven't played a game yet. I have some people local to me that are actually interested in playing. So hopefully I'm meeting up with them early next week to get a few games in to see how it goes.
From what I know, this is going to be pretty popular. I've already encountered some people locally to me who plan on getting involved in this as well. So,
yeah, the fact that it's Disney is going to open up a lot of doors to people that wouldn't have considered a TCG in the past. Just even from the collector's standpoint, people are just buying it because it's Disney.
Yeah, no, I bet they are. I know Paul lives in Florida. There's Disney everywhere.
Yeah, the shop up the street actually had. It's funny. I looked at the shop. I think they either advertised for it and they had it and they were selling it and they were like 12 p.m. on Saturday or whatever, or said like launching it. And I went on later that night on their website and everything was like sold out stuff.
Yeah, I had one shop local to me that it only had a $10 upcharge on the treasure trove, and I hesitated literally 5 minutes, and then decided to buy it, and it was gone already. I shouldn't have waited. But yeah, general availability is September 1st for big box stores, so it's going to be much more widely available that day. The people that are spending
5 days.
Yeah. So people that are spending $300 now, hopefully they know that it's going to be generally available within the next week, because that's a ridiculous price to pay.
I'm going to say right now, because I was like, if I wanted to grab it off today too, and it's like $8 for one of the starter things.
Yeah.
Especially if it comes out for $30 in 5 days.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I thought was really interesting, and I like that they did, the theme decks. They don't have a different numbering. So these are the actual core set numbers on all of the cards in here. So if you're trying to do a master set and
I like that too.
Master set with all the theme decks, you actually, you don't need to collect a duplicate of a bunch of cards just because it has a different number. These are, so especially if you say you're opening booster boxes and you're missing the Cruella Hollow. You just buy a theme deck which has it in it, which now I can't find it. Yeah, Cruella and Aladdin. These are the cards from the core set. So already right there, you're 2 hollows in if you're trying to collect.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, let me ask you this. Do you know how many cards you're supposed to have in a deck or anything like that?
If I recall, it's 40 card decks.
Okay, I like that. Now, let me ask your opinion on the actual, I guess I'll call it card layout, the design of the card itself.
7, 8, 9, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60 card decks.
60 cards, okay.
Lay it on the cards?
Yeah, how do you like the actual like aesthetic of it, the visuals of it?
It's standard. It's not great, it's not bad. And what I mean by that is you have the standard art box that is a square. You have an area for cost that's usually up in the corner. The name and the flavor, the description are lower on this one, but I don't think that's uncommon for card games really. A lot of card games put it at the top, but still all that's kind of doing is shifting it down here, and it's still a bar. It's not like it's anything kind of special. Like we look at Kryptik, right, and things are it's really kind of set up to display the art behind it.
Yeah.
and the whole card is kind of art. And that's what I love about Nom Nom too, is a lot of the Nom Nom verse art really kind of shines through. They actually made the overlays have some opacity to them, so you can kind of see through to that art as well. So that I don't like so much, right? The art is contained to a little box at the top, which I feel is a bit archaic. That's kind of a design that was set in what, the 90s.
Yeah.
And still going strong today. So I kind of prefer more full art with designs that can, kind of not just take up the whole width of the card. But it's not bad. It's just not great either.
I kind of was asking because that's kind of how I felt as well.
Yes.
We just looked at some of those Kryptik cards, and these kind of look a little boring compared to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's our next topic.
Yeah. So this is Legions of Will. But Legions, it's a similar thing, right? Where Legions, they a lot of the card is the art. That's just a common card. A lot of the card is the art with minimal kind of areas for the text and numbers and such. And then even with the top overlay, opacity, and it doesn't go edge to edge, so you still kind of, it feels like it's more of a HUD than a card layout. And opacity on that backs as well.
Yeah, these do seem pretty basic to me. I hope that in their future sets they kind of do that full art style in a way, at least for like you said, this is the Aladdin Cruella deck. Like maybe just those two main creatures or whatever, then something like that. You know what I mean?
I think the enchanted rares. I don't have one, but I think the enchanted rares do have more of a full art look to them.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull that up here. Yeah. The enchanted rares are a much better design, actually. Well, are they? Is that maybe the Elsa one is awkward? No, it's actually still not all that better.
Okay.
I'll show you why. Like it's better. It looks better, but in practice, it's basically the same. So share screen, window, this one. At first, I thought the opacity went through to the bottom. It doesn't. It's just a different design that kind of mimics the background. So like Mickey's, Mickey's legs or whatever, and same for Elsa. It kind of looks like it went down into the bottom, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
But it's a cooler design, and these are incredibly rare. The thought for those, I don't know if it's been proven, is that it's 1 per case, and a case is 4 booster boxes.
Okay, that's not that bad, honestly.
No, not when, at normal price maybe, but see, here's the Elsa one.
I'm in a lot of like Nintendo, Pokemon, etc. type groups on Facebook, and I saw somebody pull that genie actually. That was just on the previous screen, but I saw somebody pull the genie one, and they were like freaking out. They were like, "I just pulled this random card, and it's super rare."
It's actually kind of interesting because this one, Tinkerbell, it does look like the legs come down through, but they just have some designs through them. So maybe that's what's happening with the others as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Genie, where are you? Hey, there's Genie. Yeah, Genie. Okay, Genie's goes down through too.
Yeah,
right,
I saw somebody pull that one.
But
these are pretty cool, though. I like these a lot better than the regular ones, but I guess it makes sense that they're rarer.
My kids would freak out over this one.
I still love Lilo and Stitch.
So good.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Disney movies that I still watch on repeat. Let's put it that way. Like once a year or so, I'll be like, I haven't seen that in a while, and I'll throw it on. But Aladdin is my all-time favorite, so I've always been a fan. But yeah, the game seems interesting. I'd be willing to play that one as well. We want to do that live one episode. I'm also down for that.
Yeah.
I don't plan on going all out in Lorcana, but I do plan on getting some. So I'm one of these people that's waiting for the general availability.
Yeah, I was gonna do the theme decks at a minimum, and then if it's good, yeah, I definitely play with people, because I think I can actually get some of my local friends to play this one.
Yeah, no, that'll be fun. And like you said, it'll bring people in that haven't played card games before. I know a lot of people in my life personally that are huge Disney fans, but when they see me with like my Pokemon and stuff, they're like, "What are you, like a kid?" And now it's like,
and you say yes.
Yeah, pretty much. But now, now it's like I might be able to get them involved in card games or something like that as well. So
yeah,
I like that. It's cool. Dudley, you got anything on Lorcana? Any questions?
I mean, I dig in like gameplay aspects. Obviously, you asked how many cards. We counted 60. How many inkwells can you play per turn? Just one. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's basically. And how many cards you start with in your hand?
So let me. This was since Dudley said inkwell. It actually reminded me of a question I have. Once you play that inkwell, you can't gain that resource ever again. It's just like a one-time you burn it.
Can you reuse it? So if
you can't. But like, if I were to put Aladdin in my inkwell, you can never use it as Aladdin again.
Yeah.
Resource for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can keep gaining that resource.
Yeah. It works just like.
Is there a max on resources that you could gain?
I don't believe so.
Yeah,
I like that.
I mean, there is. If and that's actually kind of interesting. The strategy, right? Know your deck, because
that's for any game. Know your deck.
No, yeah, right. It's for any game, because it's cool. You can do a resource every turn. You're 10 turns in, but do you ever need 10 resource in a single turn with the deck that you're playing? And if not, like, figure out what that threshold is. For you, is 8 kind of the max? Then don't go above 8.
Yeah, no, I got you.
But then that means you can play multiple cards if you have the inkwell for it.
Yeah,
absolutely. But depending on your play style and whatnot, and what your deck is built to do, how often are you going to be in a situation that you're going to need more than 8? Is it like a 3% of the time you need that 9th one? Is it really worth kind of putting that extra card down so you can't use it?
Yeah.
No, makes sense.
It's definitely similar to this in Kryptik.
Yeah.
You have to make a choice of whether you want to sacrifice this early on because it's a high cost, but it's an inkwell. And then later on, you're like, I wish I had that card.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen either way.
I'm interested. I'm interested because in Kryptik, comparing it to this game, you can see the colors right here, very specific. Yep. Blue, green, blue, green.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's like, let's say, I'll just pull a random one. This is just black. Like this only creates a black one. Is that right? Yep. Does this even? Yeah, it only creates a black soul. It costs a black soul and 1, so the gray, and it has a number equals how many. There's like, it can be blue, green. There's different combinations because there's some that have like blue green, then there's some that are white blue. So you can do like the white blue, blue green, maybe make an eye on it. But for Lorcana, all of them are the same inkwells and inkwell. So
that's a part of deck building I didn't cover actually, is your deck. So there's different colors. There's green, red, silver. There's 6 colors. And in a single deck, you can only use 2 colors.
Oh.
So your ink is always neutral. Your ink and your ink costs are always neutral. But your deck building, you have to choose only 2 colors that you can use for your entire deck.
You can mix.
So like that one was red and green.
So this one is a red-green deck, yeah. So that it's emerald, ruby. There's also amethyst, steel, amber, and sapphire. But when you're deck building, you need to choose what 2 colors are you going to mix.
And you have free range to mix them however you want.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Doesn't have to be set. So yeah, so this deck is the Emerald Ruby. There's a
Now we're putting them to the test.
there's an Amber Amethyst, which is the Moana Mickey deck. That's supposedly the strongest of the 3 starters. And then there's a Sapphire Steel, which is Cinderella and Simba.
It's funny that they make Mickey the strongest deck.
I know, right?
To start, you know?
I think it's actually Moana is the strongest deck.
Oh,
and
okay.
Interestingly, that's not even the deck that has Grammatala. So Grammatala is a really interesting card. Must be in this one. So Grammatala is Moana. I don't know if you've seen Moana, but Moana's grandmother, and in the movie she dies right in the beginning. Spoilers. But there's parts of the movie where her spirit kind of guides Moana. So the way that they incorporated that into the card is when Grammatala dies on the field, she actually doesn't go to your discard; she goes to your resource pool. Which I think is a really cool mechanic. So I think we're gonna see a lot of that one in use because it's I'm gonna get this down to use for defense, for attack, whatever. And if I lose it, it's a resource.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Is there a limit on how many cards can be of each card? What's the deck limit on the card?
4. And I don't believe that rarity matters like you've seen in some other games. I think it's like even your mythic rares or your I forgot the name of the highest level already. I said it so many times tonight. Enchanted rares.
Enchanted, there we go. Yeah.
You can still do 4 of.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, there's a really cool app for Lorcana. Has a deck builder, a catalog, score counter, tutorials. I highly suggest it. It's really well put together.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that one is just for looking at the cards, building a deck, and using it as a score counter. It's not an actual app to play the game.
Correct.
No,
and there's
still very useful. Nice.
Yes, super useful, and you get to see all the cards even if you don't own them and all that. You can mark what you own. You can mark what you want to put on your wish list. They did a really good job for a day 1 app.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's Lorcana.
That's Lorcana. We'll play it.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to play that one. I'm not like the biggest Disney fan in the world, but I grew up with it, and I do appreciate and love a lot of the movies and everything and the characters. So I kind of am excited for that, almost like the nostalgia in a way.
Yeah.
And to see, I'm always interested in playing a new card game, but the characters and everything like that are kind of what do it for me for this one.
Exactly, and I think it's going to be easy to get my kids into because they're going to recognize things. The only thing that's a little odd is it's not really odd; it's just kind of different. There's different kind of types of cards. There's storyborn cards, and the art and the mechanics are based off of the movies or the stories or whatnot. And there's Dreamborn. This one's a Dreamborn where it's a little more kind of creative. Like, this one is supposed to be Hercules, true hero. He has a shield. He's wearing Scar's pelt as a cape. So that's actually Scar's head up top. And carrying... Oh, yeah, he has, power emanating from his hand, electric power. There's a lot of Dreamborn cards in here that are just, they're different variations. They're from a different multiverse, kind of.
So yeah, they're mixing the lores together.
Yeah. Exactly. So here's another Dreamborn of a Fiery Usurper Scar. So it's a magma-based Scar. Maybe
That's kind of cool.
Got consumed by the flames.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Well, once I get some cards, we'll play some games. Again, we'll do it live here. We'll see how it goes.
Do it.
So, on to the next topic. Ian failed at his homework assignment.
He did. I am missing 2. So my homework assignment was to build my cat deck. I have everything I need.
In what game?
Legions of Will. I have everything but 2 cards I need. I need the Vault, which I have one, but I don't want to use it, and I'll tell you why. It is a hollow. Oh, you can't really see it. It's kind of blurring out. It's a hollow version, and the Vault is a legendary, which means that this is a pop 15 card, and I can't put it in my deck.
I mean, I don't see any rules against it.
Yeah, you're a monster. I will replace that card from my deck if I can't pull it non-hollow out of this box.
Which we will be doing a pack battle with.
Hurry up.
So I did my homework assignment. I stayed up late last night to do my homework assignment the same way I was in school doing it just the night before. So I built my first deck ever. I'm not very confident in it. I'll say that. I'm happy with it, but I've never played it, so I'm not confident in it. But so this game, like we've said before, you start out with 3 bases, and this is actually a playmat for it. So the bases would go in each one of these spots. So you start the game with one of the bases face up. The other 2 that are face down, you will need to pay the resource for. Now, I chose my bases, and I built my own deck. Now, these 3 cards do not count towards your deck count, and you build a 40-card deck. To my knowledge, you can go above 40 cards. It's just a 40-card limit. A minimum, I'm sorry. Exact opposite of what I said. Now, I chose to mix. Again, in this game, there's no like how in Lorcana, how he was saying there's like green, red, things like that. There's not really different colors or like energy types, things like that. It's more so your units, like I'm going to call it tribe. So the units are like creatures. So I built my deck around. I have demons. I forgot that my camera was like this. So you can see here at the top, it says unit demon. So my deck is demons. Oh, my green screen is getting blown by my AC here.
Magic is lost.
And then I also put shadows in my deck.
Demon Shadow.
And I plan on using this deck to go up against Ian's cat deck. But the fact that I know he's playing cats, I don't know his deck. I got a pretty good premise of what the deck would be from seeing other cats and stuff like that by pulling cards and everything. I didn't necessarily build my deck to like go up against his deck.
That would be cheating.
I didn't do that. But he's going to get to know my deck a little bit right now for when we play that game. So I chose 3 bases strategically for what I wanted. Nothing crazy. I feel like these bases could be used in any deck. So again, these cards go face down, and you start the game with 1 face up. The one I would start face up with. Actually, one thing to point out before I get into this base is that you cannot have the same base. They all have to be 3 different bases. You can't have more than one of the same base. But the one that I would start face up with is the one with the higher cost. And this one here allows me all permanents cost 1 less to attach to this base.
Do you want to hear
So-
the bad news?
What's that?
You cannot start with a legendary base.
Okay, so I wouldn't start with this one. I'd start with one of the other ones. But you start with the flipped up, and then you have to build off of this. So like the units, like I said, I have a demons. The demons would be attached to this base, and then you could either use them to attack or defend your base. You lose the game if all of your bases are face down. Now, something to point out that I found out yesterday because I was building this deck and asking questions in the community was you are not attacking their creatures directly. You are attacking the base. Mm-hmm. The only time you are attacking their creatures directly is if they have one up and they're able to block with it.
Yep.
And then you would be attacking their creature instead of the base because they're blocking with it. But besides that, let's say I attacked with this guy and now it's, fatigued. My base is just completely vulnerable, and the opponent probably would be able to win on the next turn. Each card does have, so the bases are what, I like this too. The bases are what create your resource. So here's a base for an example.
Yeah.
This is the defense. Yeah, there's cats in the background. So this is the defense. This is the capacity, and this is the resource. So I'm able to attach 4 things to it. You would have to do 4 damage to it to kill it. And every single start of my turn, if this is up, it will create 3 resources for me. One thing to note about this game is that the resources roll over for your turn. So if I don't use those 3 resources that I gain in this turn, I could use them on my next turn. However, there is a capacity where you max out at 20 resources. So getting into my other base. So this one, like I said, it just allows me to attach things to it for 1 less cost. I think that's going to be useful in any deck. This one I just felt like was an all-around pretty even, strong card. It's got a 4 defense, which is higher for some of the bases. I think the strongest one I've seen is 7, and I think there's only 1 base that goes up to 7. The rest of them are around like 2 to 5, I would say. So I think this is a pretty decent one. And then the capacity is pretty high too at 4. And then 3 resources is pretty decent. So I just put this one in here because I feel like it's a pretty even all across the board, nice base that'll help me. This one is 5 defense, 5 capacity, 4 resource. So just 1 more than each one of these. But again, it's a legendary card. So it's a little more powerful. And it has that effect text. And then my last one here, it only has 2 defense, so a little lower, 4 capacity, and 3 resources. But this one gains +1 defense for each unit stationed here. So if I have a creature on this, it'll go up to 3. If I have 2, it'll go up to 4. So I think it could be strategically used, and
max 6 because you can only have 4.
So
capacity, so you can technically go up to 6 defense.
So, but then there's, let me get into that then. So there, again, it's like this one says, all permanents that are attached to it. There are other things that you could attach besides just like creatures, for example. So I have in my deck, let's count them. I think it's either 5 or 6. Let's pull them out right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 of them. These are called upgrades. So these are permanents that you could attach to your base, and it will give you the same thing. So if I attach this to that one that we were just talking about there, it will gain +2 defense. So this is not a unit, so it won't add the defense to this. It's an upgrade, but it will automatically make this now a 4 defense because it's gaining 2. And I also gain 2 more capacity. So instead of the 4, now it's 6. So you could kind of manipulate your bases and build strategically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have, like I said, 6 of those because, again, you're drawing cards. You don't know what you're going to get. I'm just hoping that I get a couple of these in the gameplay that I could use. You know what I mean? All of them kind of do a little different things. Some of them, just like the base here, have abilities. So, like this one's ability, whenever a unit attacks this base, it gains -1 power until the end of the turn. So if one of Ian's cats, let's say, was attacking for 2 power, if this is attached to the base, it'll only attack to 1 power. So yeah, there's all different units you could use with all different abilities, and I built my deck and put the upgrades that have the abilities that I think I need and the resources, capacities, and defenses that I think I need for my bases. Now, getting into my cards a little bit. Deadly, you mentioned while we were talking about Kryptik, you got to kind of strategize like high cost cards, low cost cards, mid cost cards, mid range cards, high powered things like that. So here in the beginning, let me just put this one card back in its place because I'm very OCD about stuff like that. No, I can't even find it. So we'll just go through it. I'll just leave that to the side. Starting out with my high powered cards, there are cards that are not legendary necessarily in rarity, but they are legendary for like gameplay. So I have 2 legendary cards in my deck, and the legendary cards are higher cost. So cost will be up in the corner. And this is a very low number game. So like cards cost like 2, 3. A higher cost card is like a 5. So this one being 11, it's a lot, you know. But again, it's legendary. It says at the top there, legendary unit. Whenever you have a legendary unit, you can only have 1 of that in your deck. If it's a normal one, you could have up to 4. So this one has a very high attack. Its attack is its same as its defense. So its attack is 11, its defense is 11. However, if I want to attack with this guy, I need to roll a d12 first, and I would need to roll a 5. I don't think that's bad for this card, being that how high cost it is, how high its attack is. 5 is a pretty low number on a d12 for this card, I feel like. Now it is a shadow card. I have 1 legendary demon, 1 legendary shadow, because that's the combination I'm going for. This one says it costs 1 less resource to play for every unit I cost. So if I have like 5 units out, this thing will only cost me 6. So I think it's a pretty cool card. I think it's very useful for my deck. I think it's pretty powerful. One thing to note too is if I don't roll that 5, let's say I have it attached to this base, I go to attack, I don't roll, I roll a 3 or something like that, I don't have to fatigue it. I could leave this up and it's now a defender for my base for my opponent's turn. I think that's something that's very powerful. My legendary demon, I think, is very cool. He says on it, whenever this unit attacks, you may remove target card from the graveyard from the game. So when your unit dies, you send it to the graveyard. And I could remove it now from the game entirely. Now, underneath that, the second part says you may play cards that have been removed from the game with this unit. So I could remove them from the game entirely, and then I could replay them with this guy.
Does it say your graveyard or just the graveyard?
No, it doesn't say that. It says you may remove target card. And I asked that in the Legions of Will chat yesterday. I was like, if it doesn't specify, does that mean I could do it to anything? And they were like, yep, you're good.
So you can steal my cats.
Yeah, pretty much. And I don't want to get into all the shadows, but they're pretty crazy. I will get into like why they're crazy. I have one more like powerful card that I threw in here. I can have 4 of this one because it's not a legendary, but I am only playing 1 of it because I want to stick to that 40 card limit. And this card's pretty quick. You only have 2 cards in your hand at a time, but as soon as you play a card, you got to draw one. So you'll always have 2 cards in your hand. You always have resources gaining every turn. So it's pretty quick. You could get through those 2 cards and like just keep. You could play like 7 cards in a turn or something like that if you have the resources. You know what I mean? So I only have 1 of these though because I didn't want to use up a lot of those slots with all 4. And this guy is a demon beast. So he's not actually a shadow and he's not actually a demon. I believe there are unit beasts as well. I could be wrong with that, but he's a demon beast. And this guy says, whenever this unit attacks, you may destroy target unit with a power of 4 or less. And there are a lot of cards in the game where their power is only 1 or 2, let alone 3 or 4. So I thought it was a very useful card, even though I only have 1 in there. But going into my main cards now, oh, I'm sorry, there was one more legendary card, but this one is a demon also, and it says whenever this unit attacks, sacrifice a unit. So if I attack with this guy, I got to sacrifice one of mine. But he's in here to be a blocker. And it says whenever this unit blocks, target player sacrifices a card. So again, a nice legendary, little effect there. Mm-hmm. Now getting into the main part of my deck, and that's where this guy comes from. Now I found a spot. Again, it's just demons and shadows, and demons kind of have their own little thing going for them, and shadows kind of have their own little thing for them. So I kind of was trying to maneuver and figure out the best way to put them together. But this guy, he says, whenever this unit blocks, you may destroy target unit unless its controller pays 4. So I have a few cards in my deck like this. I have like a, let's call it a spell card. I think they're called actions in this game. I have a few action cards that kind of do the same thing. It's like this card does not resolve unless the owner pays 3 more resources. So it's kind of like a theme in my deck where I'm like, I'm going to make them spend more money. Use up your resources that you got there so you can't use it on things that you want to use it for during your turn. Then I got some demonic temptresses, and demonic temptress can't be blocked by units with a power of 4 or less. So just like I was saying before, there's a lot of cards with powers 1, 2, 3. So I feel like this could be a strong one because if those units are up, she could just get through and still hit the base.
And she's low cost, it gets it out really quick.
Yeah, she's only 4 cost, so like one of my bases could get that out in 1 turn.
Yeah.
Now, this is the only... Let me just double check that. Yeah, this is the only unit I have 3 of. I didn't go 4 with any of them. And this is a shadow. And I have 3 of this one in here because it says this unit gains +1 power for each shadow. So if I have more of these out, they work with each other, essentially. Its power normally is 3. If I have all 3 of these out, its power would be 6. So that's pretty cool. But like I said, shadows kind of got their own thing going for them, and I might not always be playing them as units. And I think one of the next ones, the next one literally, gets into that. So shadows have this cool ability, and it says here, you can see it. When you play Shadow Phantom, you may merge it with another unit. That unit gains -2 power. So I asked a few questions about this last night since I was building this deck, and I didn't know exactly what merging meant. I would use this one against your cards, kind of like we were saying. It doesn't say that I need to merge it with one of my cards, so I can merge it anywhere I want. I wouldn't want my cards to have -2 power. So I can merge it to your card. Let's say this was your card. I could merge it to this. It would go underneath it. And now its power would only be 1. However, I can never use this as now a unit. It's no longer a creature that I control. Whenever your unit dies, this will go into my graveyard. It's almost like it turns from like a unit into like an equipment in a way. But I thought it was very interesting that a lot of them, and I don't have a lot of them in my deck, are made to strategically mess up your opponent's deck. This one will gain +5 will, so you need to roll 5 more on your D12 in order to attack with it. Lots of things like that. And I was like, damn, this shadows seem pretty powerful because of this. I could use it as a unit and attack with it or block with it, or I could use it to just like mess up what you got going on. So I thought that was pretty cool. The next one I have, and these are the last of my units, and then I have like all my actions and all those things. It just says when you play this, you may merge it with another unit, and that unit cannot block shadow. So again, I would attach this to one of your units, and then all my other shadows are free to bypass them and just go ahead and attack your base, essentially. So none of them I have would be attached to mine. However, there are plenty that would benefit me as well. They just didn't fit into the way I was building this deck. Getting into some actions, there are some that I was told are going to be in pretty much every deck. The main one I am using a promo version for because I absolutely love it. And that is Twilight Blossom. I think this promo version is just beautiful. But it just allows you to gain 3 resources. Pretty simple. Everybody needs it. I feel like every deck is going to have that. This one I would have thought was a staple one, but the guy I was talking to and helping me build my deck did not mention this one as a staple card. And again, you could have 4 of these in your deck. I only put 1 in my deck. New Genesis. Each player shuffles their graveyard into their deck.
I can see why it's not, because it's each player.
Yeah, I get that too. But a lot of decks already have kind of like abilities to bring stuff back. This deck does specifically also. So for me, it's just like, I don't care if you get them. My deck is already doing that anyway. This is just like another way that I could do that. But I thought it was kind of interesting that I could have 4 of these. You know what I mean? Like 4 times I could just gain everything back. It seems pretty wild. It's like that game could go from like 30 minutes to like 3 hours, I feel like.
Right.
Here's another one that, again, I could have 4 of and I only have 1 of, but equally useful, I feel like. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck. Your opponent can't respond to this. Everything in this game has a response. This is like the one thing that I've seen so far where it clearly states you can't. But again, your hand is only 2 cards, so it's not like the biggest thing in the world, but still it could be a complete game changer at the same time. The rest of them pretty much are like these next 4 that I have are just direct damage. Like you pay this cost. This one you pay 1. It does 3 damage to whatever. Well, actually, not whatever. Target unit. I'm sorry. This one you pay 1, deal 2 damage to target unit. So I have a bunch of stuff like that. I thought this one was cool for my deck, Ian. This one, target unit becomes a shadow until the end of turn. That unit also gains power equal to the number of shadow cards it's in its owner's graveyard until the end of turn.
Oh, that's cool.
Pretty cool, right? So
good late one, yeah.
So I have 2 of these in here, and I could use this more than one way. I have that card where it costs less for each shadow, so I could use it to like drop the resource cost of another shadow unit, things like that. And I could also just turn my demons into shadows if I got a bunch of shadows in the graveyard and completely boost its power up. So I thought it was a cool choice. This next one is one of the staples. Again, you could have 4 of this one in your deck. I only own 2 of them, so I put only 2 of them in my deck. Take an extra turn after this one. Remove this card from the game. Here's something cool, though. So I love this. Just being able to take a second turn, complete advantage right there. It screws your opponent over. He might have something he plans to do when you pass turn. Not going to happen now. I'm going to switch up your whole thing, mess some stuff up again, hopefully get an advantage. I only have 2 of these, like I said, but I have a card that allows me to play cards that are removed from the game. So I can still reuse these 2 cards by reusing them once they're removed from the game with that other card.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't feel too bad about the fact that I only had 2 of them. And I think we're almost at the end here of my deck. This one is like a response to if an opponent is attacking, because again, everything has a response in the game. And it just says destroy target attacking unit. So again, I feel like it's pretty useful. I hope I have them in my hand when I need them. This one I'm going to be using on my cards. I only have one of them in my deck. I feel like I want more of them, but that 40 card limit again, it just gets to my head sometimes. But I don't know if I could focus this one a little better so you can read it. But all units gain -2 will. All of them. Until the end of my turn. So every unit I plan on attacking with, I will have to roll 2 less on that D12 in order for my attack to go through.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want most of my creatures to be attacking, that's a great card to play. Maybe I just need like a few points and able to get through some creatures and then attack a base and win. That could be a card that could get me that win during that turn much easier. Yeah, we got 3 more different cards here. I threw one of these in there. You pay X and you deal that amount of damage divided among anything you want, essentially. So if you have 20 resources, I could use all 20 resources and just distribute that 20 damage however I want. So I feel like if I can't get creatures out that I want, can't get the damage where I want, I'm rolling the D12 and my attacks aren't going through the way I want. That might be a card that might be able to help me out and get rid of some things. This is one of the other staple cards. I do have 4 of these, but I did not throw 4 in my deck. Again, it's something I might want to throw more of in once I play and figure it out a little bit better. And this one is where you the target card does not resolve unless its owner pays an additional 3. So I mentioned this earlier. It's kind of like a theme in this deck, one of the themes in this deck where I'm trying to get you to spend more resources. So you might be paying one of these action cards, like this one that I just said, where you pay X and you deal that much damage. If I use this card, you would have to pay 3 more in order for that to go through. So again, if I play it and I'm using all 20 resources, and then you play this one after me, there's no way you max out at 20 resources. This attack wouldn't. This card would not go through because I wouldn't even have the 3 resources to pay. So I feel like this could be a very strategic card, early game or late game, because it could be beneficial if you have a lot of resource, or your opponent has a lot of resources, and it can be very beneficial if your opponent has little to no resources. The last one I put in my deck, and this might be one that I swap out probably, it says you put the target unit on top of its owner deck. You may pay an additional 2 any number of times to copy this ability that many times. So I can take your units that are stationed at your base, remove them from the arena, and put them on the top of your deck. And then I could pay 2 resources and do it again, and pay 2 resources and do it again, and pay 2 resources. So I feel like it has its use, but I'm not sure if it's in this deck necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
It just caught my eye, and I wanted to test it out, type of thing.
Yep.
Building this deck and opening this new set of cards has gotten me very interested in this game and very excited for it. And I wasn't expecting building a deck to be as hard as it was. I'll just say that. The fact that you could have 4 of each card in the deck, and again, like, you want to stick close to like that 40 card limit. It was hard for me to choose what I wanted. I literally had a stack of like 60 units that I wanted, and then I had another stack of like 60 actions that I wanted.
Yep.
And I had to like limit all those into building this deck essentially.
There's a lot of synergies, which is really interesting for deck building, and part of that, and I think this is actually kind of a bad thing. There's 255 cards in the set. So we have,
I believe so.
255, which I feel like is like 70 cards more than it should be per set. I think the cards that we have available should be across 3 sets. There's just so much already. which I mean, it's not bad. I think he could have paced himself a little better, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, I do agree. Yeah, I definitely agree. Definitely, I actually want to show you, not to show off or anything, but I'm showing off right now. I think you'll like these though. So each booster box comes with a box topper, and then you're also pretty much guaranteed like a secret rare in one of your packs, pretty much. And these are some of the ones that I pulled. I feel like you would like this one a lot.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
So all of the secret rares are cards that you could actually get in regular sets. They're just like all art versions.
I got one too.
I do have one.
So yeah, you have. Hold on, I have it here as well. You got it at a convention, I believe, right?
3 of those.
And you got. Where is she? You got this version. And then I pulled this one in the new set.
Nice.
But yeah, it's the same card, same ability. Just again, all alt art.
Anthony sent us the first version.
Yeah.
This one?
I have that one in like 2 different variants. Yeah.
But you don't think collecting one?
But this game, I feel like I was in previous episodes. I feel like I wasn't giving it as much credit as it kind of deserves. I was saying it's pretty easy, pretty simple, which I will stand by and say, learning it's pretty simple, easy to pick up and everything like that. But after getting into and reading the cards, there's a lot of complexity behind this game.
Yeah.
Like you need to use a lot of strategy. And one of the persons in the community that I was speaking to about like, hey, how do I build this deck? What do you recommend? Blah, 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 blah. They told me most of their decks are like 75% actions. And only like a small percent of them are units.
Oh, weird.
They were like, some of these actions, like I'm able to win like turn 2 or turn 3. Because depending on the action, again, you're doing like direct damage, you're preventing them from doing things. So I thought that was interesting. And it kind of got in my head while I was building my deck. I was like, damn, I have too many units, I think. But reality is I just need to play a few games and see what works and edit from there. Everybody's play style is going to be different, and what works for them might not work for me. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that they said that to me. They were like, yeah, like I use like 70 to 75% units and actions, and then like I use like maybe like, you know, they gave like weird numbers, like 3% units and like 15% the other things. I was like, like units are the smallest thing that you have in your decks. Okay. Not me. It's like a third, I would say. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm excited to play this. It's been a while since I played it, but every time I've played, I used a pre-constructed deck. I'm excited to see how awful my deck does. Ian, you got any idea when we could do this pack battle?
No.
What, Deadly? Were we talking to you?
Okay. See you guys.
Do you have a box of Legions of Will?
I don't. I have one pack that I ripped last week. All right.
Yeah, you ripped it last week.
I'm still waiting on my medicine poker chips.
Yeah. Ian has some Metazoo poker chips for Deadly. That
I thought some Legion of Will was coming.
I guess now I need to sort through my Forgotten Tribes, get all my duplicates from that and send those down to you too.
So Anthony, the creator of the game, sent me a bunch of decks and everything like that, and I thought this was pretty cool. I gave one to. I'll give you a deck. So I gave one to like an acquaintance. I'll say he's not really like a friend of mine or anything like that. It's just somebody that
he's not watching right now.
I don't care if he is. He knows what he is. But but he's somebody I see often. I'm friendly with, but we're not like friends or anything like that. And I was like, hey man, I know you're into Magic. You've talked about Magic to me before and everything like that. I gave him 2 decks because I got a few of them. I go, why don't you take these 2 decks, you use one, and one of your buddies you play Magic with, one day why don't you play this instead? And he was real excited for it, honestly. And because of that,
I like this game.
I saw him today, actually, even. Like I said, I see him all the time. And he goes, hey, man, I want you to know I thought it was so cool that you got me that deck and you want me to try out this new game. He goes, I'm building you a Magic deck right now, and I'm going to bring you a Magic deck so you could check that out.
Nice.
That was pretty cool. You know?
About the day.
He told me he's building me a red black deck, I think, for Magic. But yeah, I've never played Magic before, honestly, so I think it's cool that he'll give me a deck for my first experience. Deadly gave me a few cards here and there before, but I've never played and had a deck before, you know.
I still like it.
And this is one that he's building. He's like, it's not going to be like, he's like, I got a lot of good cards. Like, I'm going to build you a deck, you know? So yeah, it's kind of cool. But yeah, I got some decks and I'll send you one, Deadly. But once we do our pack battle, which will happen eventually whenever Ian tells me he's available, I'll make time for him. He doesn't make time for me.
Times that kisses you.
But we also already have planned playing this game. So unlike Kryptik and Lorcana, where we're going to be just trying it out for the first time, and we might play some games on here and things like that, Ian and I are fully committed to playing a game of Legions of Will. And
Matt fully committed to playing a game of Legions of Will.
I fully committed to beating Ian in a game of Legions of Will. No, from what I've heard, actually, cats are number 1 in the meta right now. I don't know if you knew that already, or if it's just ironic that you chose to build the top meta deck. But go fuck yourself, Ian. All right, how about that?
I didn't know that. I honestly don't follow the Discord anymore. No, but between the kids and just other stuff going on, Thursday's the only night I set aside for doing stuff like this. So usually I don't even find out if I have a free night until 8:30 of the night. The night end.
Yeah, no, I get it. So that is it for our TCG segment. Very quickly, because I don't have much to say about it. Every week, pretty much, I've been just talking about like which game I'm playing, things like that, updating everybody. I just wanted to tell everybody that I kind of got burnt out on Pokemon, so I'm taking a break from Pokemon on Switch for the next
Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take a break from it for the next week or two. I was playing Brilliant Diamond, and I was building my VGC team on Scarlet Violet, and I've been putting a lot of hours into Pokemon, and I kind of just need a break for myself mentally. And in doing that, actually a few weeks ago, after we ended the episode, I mentioned to Ian that I keep for some reason being drawn to a video game that I have no experience in the genre. And even though it was appealing to me, I felt like it would bore me. And that game is Persona 5 Royal. And the genre is JRPG, which stands for, if you don't know, Japanese role-playing game. I've never played a JRPG before. I thought they might bore me. I figured I'd try this one because it's the best one, according to JRPG fans. And I found a sale for it, and I got it. Like I said, I wanted to take a break from Pokemon. I put it in one night, late night. I was not expecting the journey that this game is taking me on. You basically start out as... You're in like a heist, it almost seems like. You're like a teenage kid, and you're running away from the cops. And basically, without giving everything away, the game does like a lot of flashbacks and flash forwards. You get arrested, you get caught, and now you get sent to a boarding school. And you're again like a 17-year-old kid, and you're in this boarding school, and you're just living this kid's life essentially. Every decision you make has a consequence or an effect on the game, and it will change the story of the game. The way I'm playing this through is I'm answering the questions and I'm making the decisions based on how I would do it in real life. And this is one of those games where there's no wrong answers. You just might miss part of the story or gain access to different parts of the story based on your decisions type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing I wasn't expecting. It's turn-based like action at the same time, almost like Pokemon. Deadly, you like Advanced Wars. It's just actually, what's the Baldur's Gate, Ian?
Yep.
So it's just turn-based. There's a turn-based action in it, and again, you're like a student, and you have these personas, hence the name of the title, that are almost like spirits or ghosts that give you abilities. So I could just attack you, me the student, with my attack, or I could use my persona to give me like an ability and a special power. And then something else that's crazy too is you could use weapons. So I can also like pull out a gun and shoot you.
All right.
So it has a lot of different aspects in it. And I'm not an anime fan. There are some animes that I did enjoy and watch, but I'm not an anime fan. I just want to say that. This game, you are in an anime. There are cutscenes that are like 5 minutes, 6 minutes long sometimes, and it's beautiful anime. And it's just, you're literally like a character in a movie. I don't know if you're familiar with the website howlongtobeat.com.
I am, yeah.
So I use this all the time when I'm starting a game, and it tells you how long, on average, other users log their gameplay of a game. Last night, I saw that I was like 6 or 7 hours into this game, and I was like, most games that I play are like 20 hours long. Let's see how long this one is, see if I'm like, a third of the way or halfway through this game. It says the main story is about 101 hours.
Good luck.
It says if you want to complete it, you're playing like 200 hours.
All right.
So I don't plan on this being a game where I'm going to play beginning to end straight shot through. I think it's kind of perfect for what I'm using it for, just taking a break for Pokemon, and I could always come back and like start the story again type of thing. But yeah, it's really cool. I'm like this criminal high school student. Everybody kind of judges me, thinks I'm a rebel, and you kind of do some rebellious things. In the story, there are some sensitive subjects and stuff like that. Like our first rival, I would call it in the game, is your pedophile gym teacher.
All right.
So I wouldn't say it's a for kids game, even though you're playing as a kid in the game. It's got some pretty heavy topics in it. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that I thought I was going to hate this game. I thought I was going to hate this genre. It's my first entry to JRPGs, and I'm just very much enjoying my time with it. So yeah, like I said, I don't have much to say about it. I just wanted to kind of update everybody on my Switch play, since I do talk about Switch almost every episode. But yeah, I've been playing Persona 5, and probably when I get off of this tonight, that's probably what I'm going to play, because it does help me go to sleep also. I'm not having to fight enemies all the time. It's turn-based. I'm not having to watch my back, and like, it's a kind of relaxing game where you're just playing through a story. And I kind of like that. It's different. I like being able to make decisions and maybe choosing the wrong one and seeing how the characters respond to it. It's kind of cool. Artwork is phenomenal. Gameplay is great on the Switch. It was not a Switch game. It got ported to the Switch. If you haven't tried out JRPGs before, I didn't either. Maybe try this one. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's all I got for that. Ian, you got anything else you want to say for this week? Are you playing any Switch games right now, Ian?
Support Make-A-Wish. No, I'm not.
Are you playing any video games right now?
No.
Okay. When does Boulder Gate come out for you?
September. They don't have a date.
And you're going to be playing that on Mac, you said, right?
Yep.
So I didn't know that it was coming out on Mac. I might get it and play it with you because there's no games on Mac.
Is that one of the few AAAs that's going to be available?
Well, Deadly, what's up with you, man? You got anything you want to say before this episode ends? Are you playing any Switch games or video games in general?
I play around in Mario Party pretty much before I go to sleep. MJ has a bad habit of pushing a game onto me and then never playing it with me. Like I'm on texting him, hey, you want to play? It's just the time doesn't line up. But
I want to point out yesterday we kind of already established earlier in the day that we were going to test out our new technology, and then when I hit you up, you were like, "Oh, I'm out with my buddy."
It worked, and I'm waiting for the one piece, and it's supposed to be here tomorrow. So I would have been sitting here, would have neglected the chance to go out and hang out with someone, to hang out here while you figure it out, and I'm just like, cool.
We still
I'm missing
play the game of Mario Party. We still.
What do we have now?
I will say Deadly beats me. We've played only twice so far, and he's beat me both times. So.
And I thought I was going to be a prodigy because I played one online game and I just destroyed everybody. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so good at this. Played one last night, definitely closed out the game because I'm like, I'm not going to finish this. I'm losing, and there's one dude who just kept winning. I was like, I'm 15 turns, we're 5 in, and I'm like, not doing well.
People don't know this. I didn't know this until I started playing it. Mario Party is pretty well. I mean, the game in itself is cutthroat, but like there are players who are like pros at it, type of thing. You know, like that's all they play, and like they know different strategies. They know the maps like the back of their hands. They know what items to get when. You know, like there's some good players in there. Hence why you could put the computers on like easy, normal, and hard. We're only playing at that easy level. You know. We're playing at normal, but those normal ones sometimes beat us too, you know? So there are other players out there that are at that hard level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll eventually play a game of Mario Party on here too, because Deadly wants to do that. And and we finally got the technology to stream our Switches on this platform. So hopefully we can look forward to that in the future. But guys, that is it for this episode. If you have not already subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to the channel. Like this video, leave a comment. And one last thing is, if you're not in our Discord for Caster's Corner, there is a link in the description below. Please join our Discord. Let us know what you want us to talk about on this podcast. Talk to us in any of the chats about the games that we've mentioned. And yeah, it's just a nice community for anyone who's interested in gaming. But that is all for this week, guys. We appreciate everybody, and we will